I hear it all the time. Kids shouldn't be doing strength training. They shouldn't be in a gym. But what if I told you I've had athletes from the age of 10 to 18 years old who've been part of our gym for a very long time and have gotten stronger, prevented a lot of injuries, and overall just been more confident because of it. Some gym programs might not do it the way we do it, but we structure our programs to make sure our athletes are safe and they're actually getting results. Let's break it down, because strength training is my favorite way to help build resilience in the youth. Kids who learn how to have attention to detail, do everything properly, do every rep with intensity, and execute to pushing themselves over and over and over again every week, who's gonna build confidence? A kid who's been sitting around playing video games, or the kid who thrives and loves coming to the gym because they know they're gonna get better. They're getting addicted to the result of getting stronger, getting better, and just feeling good with themselves. And parents, we need to equip our kids with access to resources and tools that's gonna help them elevate and not consume them into, social media, technology, and isolating themselves. Let's provide an environment where kids can develop, grow, not just physically, but also their character and mindset. So we're gonna break it down today: how strength training improves self-belief, how strength training can prevent injuries, how we train our young athletes from foundations all the way to advanced, from bodyweight exercises all the way to weighted exercises. There's a certain way to do it. Kids are not little adults. They're kids. We have to train them to their ability and where they're at right there and then, to their own development and their own growth. How strength training actually improves self-belief. Now, let's look at it this way. We have to actually teach kids the purpose of strength training, make sure they understand the reasons why they're doing it, and explain to them how it's going to actually impact their mindset. So here's what I do to explain to kids and how I get them really invested into putting an effort to getting stronger and building a belief. I have a young male athlete who plays rugby union. He came to us because he was scared of tackling. He was fearful of taking the field and getting hurt. So I had to explain to him a bit more about how the gym is going to relate to helping him on the field. And not just by getting stronger to build a handle of contact, but also the mindset that goes up with it. I explained to him, when you join our program, we're gonna teach you how to do everything correctly, every detail. Make sure you're not skipping a single step. Then I need you to execute on the things we told you to do. And I need you to push. I need you to seek struggle and challenges. Now, every time you do that, every time you push yourself through one more rep, through a little bit more weight, or doing it a little bit better, what you're doing is you're teaching yourself to push beyond what you think you could. Now, an athlete who's fearful of tackling, when he's going into it, he's going 50-50 because his mindset is, if I go 50-50, I won't get hurt. But you're never gonna make a tackle that way. And in real world, you actually might get hurt that way, because if you go 50-50 into it, you're gonna get ran over. So I explained to him that way, whereas when you go into something, you wanna go 100% into it. Not 50%, because you don't want to get ran over. So when you join our gym, you join our program, I want you to execute at a very high level. I'm going to tell you everything you need to do. I'll give you the tools. I need you to use them and execute at the highest standard you possibly can in that day, in that session. Now, it's not going to be perfect. I'm not asking him to lift the whole world up. I'm just asking him to leave here feeling like he did his best. He put everything he could forward. And when I've seen him over the past year slowly improve, progress, take steps in the right direction, his mindset started changing. He started holding himself a different way. He wasn't shy and timid. He had conviction in his voice. He had confidence in his chest. He stood up taller, and I could see it. So I started asking him over the past months and the year that he trained with us, and he started saying how, I just feel way better. I don't have that fear anymore of tackling. And that's awesome. And that, to me, was a huge milestone to help that young man become confident enough to face his fear, to be courageous. And that, to me, was number one reason why strength training can improve self-belief. That's just one example. I've seen netball athletes, I've seen swimming athletes develop certain mindsets by learning how to work hard and get the result. Every time they work hard for something and they get a little bit stronger, that boosts their confidence just a little bit. And they do that over and over and over again. And slowly you start stacking these wins to a point where you look back and you go, wow, this is where I started, look where I am now. That's the confidence you want to have in a young child, knowing that I worked for this, I earned this, I feel good right now in my own body. They designed their own reality by their own actions, and they did it here through the gym, through the program. They embraced the culture, they embraced the standards, and they executed the high level. And that's what I want to see, and that's why strength training is so important. I'm not saying just sign your kid up to any gym, a commercial gym, and make them do push-ups. That's not the way to do it. They have to do it properly. There's strength training that has to be systemized, appropriate exercises, and a way to do things to make sure they get results. If they don't get results, they're gonna give up on the gym. They don't wanna be a part of it. It's just struggling for what reason? How strength training prevents injuries. Well, obviously if they get stronger, they learn how to move correctly, like they do technique really, really well in our gym. They're not just trying to lift heavier weights, but they're trying to execute the technique really, really well. And try to do exercises that are gonna help prevent injuries, so soft tissue injuries, joint injuries, like ACLs, ankle sprains, head injuries, all those kind of injuries. We gotta make sure that we give them strong enough so their body is resilient. Their body is strong. And that's how we build resilience, not just mentally, but also physically. Your body is capable of handling more. But you imagine, your child no longer fearful of getting injured, no longer fearful of getting hurt, because they worked hard to make themselves feel stronger so they can conquer more. So they're not going 50-50 into their games or the sports, their competitions. They're going 100% because they don't have a fear of getting hurt because they're strong. How to train young athletes in a gym. Now for us at Rivals, we break it down to 3 components. Most of our athletes between the ages of 10 to 14 will sit in the foundational stages. Then we have athletes who are ages between 13 to 16, 17 years old, we go intermediates. And then we have some athletes who are 15 years old and up in the advanced. Now, these programs aren't designed for age-wise, like I said, there's a lot of crossover there. It's about ability and how they're executing. Now, foundations, that's all bodyweight movements, simple movement patterns. Then we slowly start adding weight to the movement patterns as they get easier. So they can do a proper push-up. They can do 10 push-ups in a row really easily. Well, we're gonna put a little small plate in your back now and see how you go. Or we're gonna slow the tempo down so you have to go 5 seconds on the way down. Or we increase the reps. There's certain ways we can progress basic movement patterns like push-ups. And once they hit a certain standard, like they get 20 push-ups, or they can put a 5 kg plate on their back and do push-ups, awesome. We're gonna now move them on to intermediates, okay? Intermediates, same thing. Now they're doing barbell exercises, but very basic ones. And there's certain weight they have to be able to hit to be able to move to the next one again. And that's kind of how it works. You gotta make sure you're progressing them at the rate they're at, meet them where they are with their strength training, meet them where they are with their ability, and that's why we do testing with athletes to ensure we know exactly where they're at with their development. We slot them into the right phase, foundations, intermediates, or advanced, and then we make sure we lock in and execute in that phase, and then we progress them onwards. Now the last one here is body weight, plyometrics, and weighted exercises. That's probably our 3 main categories of exercises we have. We have way more in the advanced and intermediates, but for the foundations, we want to build these 3. Are they really good at bodyweight exercises? Can they do a chin-up? Can they do a single leg squat? Can they do a push-up? Can they do those things really, really well with technique? That's perfect. And then can they execute at doing a certain amount of reps with that exercise? If so, awesome. We can start then making it weighted. We can start adding a bit of weight to those bodyweight exercises before they start moving into barbell exercises or heavy dumbbell exercises. Next is plyometrics, teaching kids how to jump and land correctly in different ways. 2-foot jumps, 2-foot lands, single leg landing, jumping laterally. Different ways we can teach our kids how to move with better coordination and develop athleticism. That's all can help them prevent injuries, but as they get better at these things here, and they start seeing results, they build self-belief. So that's kind of how we structure our program at Rivals. It's all tailored programming. We don't have athletes just do the same things for the sake of it. We want results. And there's no results when everyone gets a one-size-fits-all. You gotta make sure you meet the athlete at where they're at and progress them from where they are to make sure they keep hitting the standards so they can keep progressing forward. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. I wanted to talk a bit more about our program because that's how we actually help athletes develop self-belief and resilience and confidence and become happier, is by teaching them how to work hard in an environment that's controlled and safe for them. An environment where they feel they're a part of something, a culture. You can also like our gym page. on Instagram and Facebook. I'll leave the links to our social media pages in the description below in this video. So you can kind of see about how we help athletes. And if you're not in the Gold Coast, Queensland, Australia, we can also do online for you. We supply the same programs we do in person to online with check-ins, with one-on-ones, with just free flow. You can do whatever you want, but we're giving you the programs and the plan to be able to grow physically and then develop self-belief, resilience, and confidence. So if you enjoyed today's video today, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. It goes a long way to helping us and helping more athletes just like you.